Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, a WWE source is said to be scared to death by the company's planned Royal Rumble finish.
A backstage update on Edge's Royal Rumble return.
Is Juicy John Cena coming back for WrestleMania 37?
And Nia Jax shoots on those criticising her Monday Night Raw botch. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Okay, so let's talk this Royal Rumble finish story then. It sounds terrifying. We've got a report here from WrestleVotes. Now, I'll just cut straight to it. They tweeted the following yesterday. Sorry for the lack of details here, but still noteworthy. Had a brief conversation earlier with a source regarding the men's Royal Rumble. They said, quote, "There's a finish that scares the death out of me, and it's legitimately getting heavy consideration." Yikes. So, that's open to all kinds of interpretation, obviously. We're in the global bastard era. Wrestling companies are trying to do more creative, more inventive, more unique things to try and compensate, for the artificial atmospheres in these buildings. The Thunderdome's pretty good, but, it's not quite the same as a real live in the flesh crowd. Cinematic matches, fireballs, burned faces. They're doing all kinds of wacky stuff. Tooth and nail matches. Weird things are going on around the world, which means that this scary Royal Rumble finish, it could really be anything. Now, obviously, you hope that whatever it is doesn't endanger the health and safety of the performers. But if it's kind of funny, I'm kind of into it, right? If it's kind of silly and stupid, you might as well just go for it. If it's, for example, the Fiend burning Tropicana field down, just, whatever with CGI and like Godzilla monsters and stuff, that might be a good laugh. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that'll be the finish. Maybe it'll be something even dumber than that. I don't know if there is something even dumber than that, but what do you reckon, Adam Wilborn? Do you reckon we're getting a unique finish for this year's Royal Rumble?
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day, actually, because, we're all talking about who the Royal Rumble's winner is going to be on the men's side of things in particular. But there's also the sort of spectre of the Fiend hanging over it all and balancing whatever they're clearly going to do involving Randy Orton and a returning Fiend and maybe even Alexa Bliss with just a straightforward, here's the guy who's won Royal Rumble and is heading to WrestleMania. It's quite a tough juggling act, balancing act, whatever you want to call it, for WWE. And yeah, you would assume, my mind immediately, it turned to one of two things. Either the terrifying thing is just Randy Orton winning the Rumble, which makes my blood run cold, if I'm perfectly honest. Or, some mad fire bollocks that is going to have to be involved in the finish, but then you're still going to have, I don't know, Daniel Bryan hoying Cesaro over the top rope after we've watched someone set ablaze and just be like, well, never mind all that. Daniel Bryan's made Cesaro's feet hit the floor after he's gone over the top rope. It's very, very confusing. My bet right now isn't any of those things. I think, you remember that weird cartoon thing that they had towards the end of last year? I think the year 2020 is winning the Royal Rumble.
Oh, God. That was, and this says a lot, right? But I think Drew McIntyre versus the year 2020 is maybe the worst thing WWE produced all year. I don't know. Talk about that in the comments. Give me your other suggestions. But that thing was, I couldn't even laugh at it, guys. I couldn't even laugh at it. Jesus.
I genuinely thought someone had slipped something into my coffee when I saw that.
Yeah.
But do let us know your wild predictions on the terrifying thing that's going to finish off the Royal Rumble in the comment section below. And I'll continue by telling you about the backstage update surrounding Edge's Royal Rumble appearance. It's been reported everywhere now, particularly on Fightful Select, regarding the fact that WWE Backstage are going to reveal the number 30 entrant in the men's Rumble and the number 1 and 2 entrants in the women's Rumble ahead of the Rumble this weekend. Before we get to the sort of reasoning behind that, let's talk about Edge, though. A lot of people up in arms about Edge announcing his participation in the Rumble on this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. And Fightful Select, as I said, reporting that the reasoning behind that is because there aren't going to be any fans in attendance. WWE, had it been a normal Royal Rumble period, then they wouldn't have announced it and it would have been a surprise just like last year. But WWE's justification, kind of as we speculated to yesterday, is the fact that announcing it, yes, pisses a lot of people off because there's less of a surprise, but lapsed fans, casual fans, etc. will hopefully tune in now they know Edge is going to be a part of it. And that is also the reasoning behind announcing those spots in the Rumble on Backstage. That's to draw viewership to WWE Backstage ahead of the Rumble on Sunday. And to be honest, as much as it pisses me off, I think the announcing the number 30 spot annoys me, but everything else is kind of justified. And like I said yesterday, if they said on Backstage 1 and 2 are going to be Bayley and Bianca Belair, I'm going to be even more excited for the Rumble.
Yeah, I think it's what we said yesterday. I personally, as a viewer, would prefer the more organic surprise, but you can see WWE's logic here. You really can, particularly with regards to attracting viewers to Backstage by giving them this hook. This sounds like I've just made it up, and it sounds like nonsense. But I swear to God, this is the living proof. There were certain weeks when Michael Hamflett was writing the Backstage Ups and Downs article on our website that article would have more clicks than people were watching Backstage on FS1. There were weeks where it was around 100,000 views. It just wasn't doing all that great. So I can totally understand that bit in particular. Again, I prefer the number 30 to be open and for it to be a surprise and stuff, but WWE is more ran as a business than a gratifying wrestling promotion. And once you once you kind of come to terms with that, it's a lot easier to not be upset about these things and you just kind of, it kind of sucks, but you just accept it for what it is and understand at least the promotion's reasoning.
And a bit like when they had the number 30 spots go to the bloody mixed match challenge winners. I suppose it makes number 29 more exciting. So that's the best we can hope for.
And one of them was R-Truth, but it actually turned out to be Nia Jax. So that went really well. Yeah. Next story. Good transition. John Cena. Could he be at WrestleMania 37? Triple H, he say... Potentially. Yes. Triple H has done an interview. Rashida Paul has spoken to Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated, talking about a number of different things, but one of them was the prospect of Big Match John, the Dayglow warrior himself, John in his amazing Technicolor t-shirt. WrestleMania 37, here's the Triple H quote. I won't put words into John's mouth, but I can speak to his passion, and it's WWE and WrestleMania. Once you do this at a high level, and John does it at the highest, it's very hard to put down. If there is a way for him to be there, he will be there. So this is about the closest thing to a confirmation you're going to get from a WWE official without it taking part in an official announcement. We should stress that this isn't explicit confirmation that John Cena's going to be there, but Adam Wilborn, John Cena's going to be there, right?
Yeah, and I love it. I miss him. I genuinely do. Absence making the heart grow fonder, whatever you want to call it, but I would love to see him at this year's WrestleMania. And, with what we've seen recently, with the announcement about the 2-night WrestleMania and then the whole speculation about WWE just getting a whole load of huge stars locked in, Goldberg, Cena, etc. It makes a lot of sense. I think there was an interview over the past few days Triple H did with the Hindustan Times teasing Brock Lesnar returning for WrestleMania as well. Yeah, makes complete sense. Get your big stars back for the first show you can have fans in for bloody ages, basically.
Yeah, 100%. Totally
and in
agree.
particular, with this new deal with Peacock, they want this to be a big old WrestleMania, you suspect.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, let's conclude by talking about Nia Jax again and her botch from Monday Night Raw on Dana Brooke. It was the talk of the town, of course, yesterday. And Nia Jax responded after TalkSport's Alex McCarthy shared the clip of it, and it got a lot of discussion going on Twitter. Yeah, she quote tweeted Alex McCarthy's tweet and shot on everyone, basically, saying a thread of whiners, love to see it. Now, yes, there's an argument of it's just someone living their heel persona through social media, but when it's something that we look at, and thankfully Dana Brooke is 100% okay off the back of it, it's something, based in reality where we were concerned about her getting injured, concussed, etc., etc. Bad move this, Andy, for me.
Yeah. I think, look, it's really not difficult to find examples of Nia Jax and incidents like this that have gone down. Kairi Sane, Bayley, Ember Moon. There's a whole lot of them. There's a laundry list of them. So I definitely think that two options here would have been better. One, a more mature response, or even better, two, No response.
Yes.
I feel really sorry actually for Alex here because he just posted a clip with the accompanying thing saying Jesus, because it's quite an impact. Like, she really hit the mat. I went Jesus as well. And then the poor guy's like jumped on by everyone on the internet going, that's not a botch, it is a botch. And it's like, poor dude, social media at times is the worst thing in the world. But yeah, I mean, Nia Jax's reputation precedes herself. It is what it is, isn't it? Yeah, she's always going to react like this. It's what she does.
Exactly. And Alex McCarthy already knows this probably, but I'm just going to remind him, the mute button is your friend on Twitter.
Oh,
and the
hell
block
yeah.
button.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions. Speaking of which, at WhatCulture WWE, of course, you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Mad Pancakes, who says, morning, lads. When the WWE title was on SmackDown in 2016-2017, I thought it was way better. I also think the Universal title is better on SmackDown. So what do you think of bringing the WWE and Universal titles on SmackDown and bringing the big gold world heavyweight title belt to Raw? More world titles, Andy.
More world titles. I think we've got enough. I think one on each major show is plenty. I think things work out kind of well as they are at the moment. If you want to talk about replacing the Universal Championship with a big gold belt, I'm even more all ears than I usually am. And look at these satellite dishes. I'd be in favor of that. We could have a conversation, but nah, I don't think we need another top level title. I think we've got enough.
Yeah. I think you can get rid of the Universal title and replace it with a big gold belt on Raw, for example, and have the WWE Championship on SmackDown. But two world titles on one show just muddies the waters even more, in my opinion. Right, next question today comes from Shaq, not the basketball player, on Twitter, who says, morning, lads, enjoy the channel greatly. My question is, WWE seems to put an importance on the final four of the Rumble. So who are your final four competitors for each match? And Shaq has suggested his, but we'll do ours first, Andy.
Yeah, so let's go two each. Why not? Let's go two each. For the men's match, right, I think it's important to have a spoiler. I think it's important to have somebody that you control the audience with to generate anxiety. Like, they really don't want to win, but they're in the final four and there's the fear that they might win. Brock Lesnar, returning, boom, done. Either him or Jinder, take your pick. And then, you know, Daniel Bryan, everyone wants him to win. It's the perfect combination there with those two guys in the final four, I think.
Yeah, I like that a lot. By the way, I saw your photos of Jinder from yesterday. Boy, he's stacked, isn't he?
He's ripped, baby.
Oh.
Put him over. I don't care. Just do it.
If it was down to me, I'd probably have Big George in the final four, but we're not going to do that. So instead, you've got what, Bryan and Lesnar. So I'll have Big E and Cesaro. Yeah, that sounds good to me. That'd be a really good working final four as well. And Randy Orton hopefully will have been, well, whatever the terrifying thing they've got planned for him will have happened. Shaq's picks, Styles, Bryan, Zayn, and Cesaro. I'd be happy with that as well. Final four for the women's, Andy?
Well, I've just realised that I forgot to do my gimmick. So in the final four for the women's match, Gangrel's wife.
Right.
Nah, I'm just being a fanny. The Iron Woman and potential winner, Bianca Belair. And the other potential Iron Woman and the other best potential winner, Rhea Ripley. There we go.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% on board with that. I'd have Bayley in and around that as well. You know, it's not really someone they don't want to win. It's someone you don't think is going to win, but it could also be like they could revisit her and Sasha at WrestleMania. And, well, Shaq suggested Flair, Ripley, Carmella, and Baszler. I wouldn't want Charlotte in that position, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah, I'd try and avoid that.
So why not? Let's boil some piss. Nia Jax. No, Peyton Bloody Royce. Happy Australia Day for yesterday, by the way, Peyton and Bloody Billy. Okay, final question today comes from It's Siraj on Twitter, who says, sorry in advance, again, Andy, apologising before I read this tweet out. And this also relates to what we just talked about. What do you think of the idea that Nia Jax wins the men's Royal Rumble after entering number 30 and goes on to WrestleMania to face once in a lifetime Roman Reigns with Paul on a pole in a head of the table match?
I think that your thought process is perfectly seeged to my troll brain, and I applaud you very much for fantasy booking maybe the worst idea I've ever heard. I love it. It's like, send these in every day, man. I love just nonsense like this.
Yeah, I would say to that, we've had Nia in the men's Rumble once, and just look how that turned out.
Paul on a pole.
Paul on a pole is very funny, I'll give you that. Right, let's move on to today's and finally. And just a really silly one from me today. Shout out to user Lo Ingobernable on R Squared Circle for sharing this picture of Dwayne The Rock Johnson drawn on a wooden spoon. I mean, I don't know what to say other than that. More wrestlers drawn on utensils, please. Please send us more of that. I love this. I don't know why. It's my headphone background.
This video feels like an episode of AEW Dark. What wrestlers do you guys want to see on kitchen utensils? I don't know. What do you want to see? Do you want to see Matt Hardy on a cheese grater? Do you want to see, I don't know, Jinder Mahal on a pogo stick? That's not a kitchen utensil. Can we wrap this up, please?
Yeah. Note to self: never go round to Andy Murray's for tea. Just hang on. Just sorting the pasta with a pogo stick. Don't worry, it'll be a few more minutes. Let us know your thoughts on that and all today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Myself and the Danny Boys preview the Wednesday Night War a little bit later on today. You can also let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there, follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray at...
Just, you know what it is.
The H stands for, hey, is that a pogo stick in your kitchen drawer?
Oh, gee whiz. Yeah, that
You can follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilmer. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. What's the point? Right, man, thanks, Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us. We will see you soon.
So
lie down.
Tissue.